I see you over there. You're working hard. You've been successful so far. You're probably even doing, quote, all the right things. So why isn't success following easily? What is going on? If you feel like you've plateaued or like you can't quite reach that next level of success, no matter how hard you try, this episode is for you. This episode is part 1 in a 2-part series. In this episode and the next one, I'm sharing the 12 ways your success is holding you back and what to do instead. Yes, I said that and you heard that right. How your success is holding you back. Are you surprised to hear me say that? You might be, but trust me when I say it's true. Your success so far may actually be why you've plateaued, and I'm here to help you change that. In this 2-part episode, we're going to talk about how things like being an expert, being comfortable, and talent can actually work against you sometimes. Don't worry though, this isn't all doom and gloom. This is actually meant to help you look deeper within yourself, help you evaluate the success you've had, and look at what you want next and how to get there through a different lens. If you've been successful so far, no matter what your definition is, but you just can't seem to reach the next level, whether it's in your career, in your bank account, in your happiness level, listen up. By the end of this episode, you're going to understand a few of the ways your current levels of success might be holding you back. And with this episode, number 31, and the next one, number 32, you're going to walk away with ideas of where you might be blocking your future success. Most importantly, you're going to understand how to eliminate those blocks to create more wins, reach the next level, and create more success in your life. Welcome to the Goalden Girls Podcast, where we believe you can have it all. I'm your host, Lisa Michaud, and I'm spilling tangible tips, goal-getting strategies, and real-life stories to inspire you to tackle your biggest dreams. You're a woman who knows you're made for more. Get ready to leave the excuses and self-doubt behind by being vulnerable, sharing your truth, and having honest conversations so you can succeed on your terms. Together, we'll set goals you'll actually achieve by staying motivated, having fun, and building a community of women empowering women. It's time to tap into your best self, get confident, and truly have it all. Goalden Girl, let's dive in. Hey there, Goalden Girls. Welcome to another episode of Goalden Girls Podcast. Today, we're talking about a topic that has come up in a lot of client calls lately and a lot of conversations in my life, and that is plateauing in success. And let's talk about success here for a minute because that's what you're here for, right? Success in business, success in your relationships, success in your career, your family, your community, health, finances, impact, all the things. I mean, if you're here listening, I know you're a woman who wants to have it all, and I see you there, friend. If you're listening to this, if you're in my community, I know that you are successful already. And I also know this. I know that if you're listening, if you love this kind of work, you also have untapped potential within you. And I'm willing to bet that you are more capable than you even know, and that there's goals and dreams that you are working on. I mean, hello, why else would you be listening to Goalden Girls Podcast? But sometimes what happens is when we're working towards goals is we plateau. And if you're stuck there, this is for you. Now, I also want to say, if you have a big goal that is going to require you to get to the next level, and most goals do, this episode is going to help you understand what might get in your way and prepare you now so you can reach that higher level of success. So whether you're already like in this plateau and you're feeling stuck, or you're just about to go and climb this big mountain or take this next big step, this episode is for you. So often I see and I work with women like you who have been successful. And what happens is you end up getting trapped in your success because of that. So that's why I decided to create this 2-part series on the dark side to success. How things like being an expert, being comfortable, and even fear of success can actually work against you. Without even realizing it, your current level of success might actually be sabotaging your ability to reach success in another area of your life or to achieve greater success in whatever area, whatever arena is most important. I will be honest with you guys. I have found this in many places to be true in my life, that I've ended up blocking my own success. And that's why I'm going to share with you real life examples, stories from me and my clients that I know will help you. If you feel like you plateaued, like you can't quite reach that next level of success no matter how hard you try, you are totally in the right place. And if you've got a big goal, a big dream in your heart, and you know it's going to require the next level, you're going to love this episode. The truth is that just doing what you've already been doing when you know it's not working, I mean, come on, we know that that's the definition of insanity. And the truth is that what it took to get you to your current level of success is not what it's going to take to get to your next level. Like I said, though, don't worry, this isn't the end. This isn't all negative. This episode is meant to help you find new opportunities. It's going to get you to look deeper within yourself. It is meant to help you evaluate the success that you've already had and look at what you want next and how to get there with a different perspective. I want to get you ready to act and to be different. So in today's episode, I'm sharing the first 6 of 12 ways that your success is holding you back and what to do instead. You're going to see where you're holding yourself back, get ideas on the habits you need to reach the next level, and create changes that allow you to have those wins that you desire. Let's put a little caveat in here too. This is a non-exhaustive list. These are the things that I've most commonly come across with my clients and frankly, personally, because I do this too. And since you are exactly the kind of person that I love to work with, I have a feeling some of these are going to resonate with you too. At the same time, let's say this, we are all unique and you are special. Can you tell I'm from like the special snowflake generation? But really you are. And perhaps there's other ways that you're holding yourself back too. And if you find that, that's cool. And also send me a message because I'd love to hear about it. But just know that this isn't like, if you have found a different way that you've held yourself back or listening to this spark something else in you, that's cool. You're your own best expert. You're unique. That's great. There might be other things. So if that's the case, awesome. And send me a message because I want to hear about it. Okay, real quick, before we dive in, I want to say this. I'm sharing this episode. This is based on a blend of what I've learned from my own personal experience, from my clients' experience, from working with coaches myself, and even some books that I've read. So 2 great books on this topic. If you want to know more, and I'm linking them, of course, in the show notes for you. The first one is What Got You Here Won't Get You There, How Successful People Become Even More Successful. And it's written by Marshall Goldsmith. The second book is honestly one of my favorite books ever. I usually read it once a year. I recommend it to all my mastermind clients, and they always come back to me telling me it's one of their favorites too. And it is a book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. So again, What Got You Here Won't Get You There and The Big Leap. Check those out in the show notes. Awesome books if you want more on this, because we're just kind of scratching the surface, even in 2 episodes. So let's chat. Here are the first 6 of 12 ways that your success is working against you and what to do instead. Number 1, you are comfortable. You don't actually need to change. Your job is good enough, your house is nice enough, business is good enough, your relationship is good enough, and your salary is pretty good. So I've had a lot of clients come to me, and first thing that I want you to do is to ask yourself, really truly, is your current level of success enough? Because let me tell you, there is nothing worse than chasing empty goals. And this isn't to say that you need to stay stuck, and we're going to talk about this more, but to say, like, is this enough? And if it is, that's okay, because there's nothing worse than chasing titles for the sake of titles, or dollars in a bank account for the sake of a number on a bank statement, or a certain number on the scale just for the sake of it. Like, that's not what this is about. If you are truly content with what you have, with the home you have, the relationship, whatever it is, then that's okay. And I invite you to lean into that. Revere in it daily. It is okay for it to be enough, okay? So you don't always have to be chasing more and more and more. But let's speak to if you're comfortable, maybe if you're bored or you feel like there's something more out there for you, and you know in your heart and your soul that you're meant to be doing something bigger, then you need to change. And here's how we do that. So number 1, you want to figure out how you want to feel and what it is that you're missing. Number 2, you have to set a goal or an intention to feel the way that you want to feel. And number 3, you've got to make a plan to get there. You probably know those things. I've talked a lot about knowing how you want to feel, setting a goal, making a plan. Like that stuff's not, with the exception of knowing how you want to feel, that being important, the rest of it's, pretty basic. But here is the 4th part, which is being honest with yourself about why you're staying comfortable. Is there a fear of failure? Are you afraid of what those close to you will say if you make more money? Or what are your coworkers going to think if you get the promotion? Or if you write the best-selling book? Chances are that you are letting yourself be uncomfortably comfortable for one of 2 reasons. It is that you either don't have a strong enough pull, or that you're maybe doing this even subconsciously. So there could be a few reasons why this comes out. One of the things I've read in Brendon Burchard's High Performance Habits, I've seen it in my own life and in my clients' lives, is that you really need to have something that is pulling you or exciting you, and you have to have a certain level of necessity or urgency towards that. You got to know what is going to excite you, what is going to get you going, and what is going to keep you motivated. So if you are letting yourself be comfortably uncomfortable, it's because you either don't have a strong enough pull or you don't know what's actually going to excite you. So you need to figure that out in order to move forward. Something I want to say is that you might be doing this subconsciously. You may realize, hey, Lisa, no, I really, really do want to write my book or grow my business or create the screenplay, whatever it is. I'm working on it and it's just not happening. This comfort could actually be on a subconscious level. And if this is the case, this is where you need to raise the necessity of your goal, of your desire. It has to be something that you truly want, that you are willing to get uncomfortable for. And if you're not, that's okay. But don't make the story that this goal was impossible or that you're not good enough to get it. It's just that you weren't willing to get uncomfortable for it, that you weren't willing to sacrifice for it. I truly believe that any goal worth going for is going to require a sacrifice of some sort. Only you, though, and only you get to decide whether that sacrifice is worth it or not. So you have to know, am I willing to get uncomfortable for this? Am I willing to give up what I currently have to reach that next level, to write that book, to be uncomfortable? Because the next level is going to require you to get out of your comfort zone. When it comes to this idea of being comfortable and not needing to be successful at the next level, I've often found that there is some sort of a fear or limiting belief, something holding you back. And we're going to talk about a few more in this episode and the next. So let's keep going. Number one is you're comfortable and you're not giving yourself the necessity or urgency to get uncomfortable. So that's the number one thing. You have to get willing to be uncomfortable if you really want to go for it. All right, number two. The number two reason why, and these are in no particular order, by the way, let me just say that your success might be holding you back. If you've been successful so far, what often I see happening is that you think you should be able to figure it out. And so what happens is you try to do it alone. I'm going to give you a real life example of this with our real estate portfolio. We did this for a long time alone. Like I'm saying 9.5 years out of 10. And when I say we did it alone, we were alone in two ways. Number one, we did everything ourselves. We didn't outsource almost anything. We tried to do everything. And number two, we also tried to learn everything, know everything, become the experts instead of relying on experts and leveraging their knowledge and working with them. We've fairly recently gone from owning one rental property in the last couple of years to 22 doors now. And one day, I hope that we're going to have hundreds. We've had to learn to think differently and to do different things at every step along the way, and we're going to have to continue to do this. Not doing this alone is probably one of the biggest things that we had to shift and one of the biggest things that we've had to overcome in our own mindset. This is like me being super honest with you. Now, in the beginning, what it took for us to get to our first rental was we had to actually save and pay down debt aggressively. And that was a good thing to do. That really helped us. I would say that probably helped us get the first 9 rental doors and maybe even our first $1 million in net worth because we got really good at saving and paying down debt aggressively. So up until pretty much this year, I'll be honest, we have done a lot of things, mostly everything by ourselves. We rarely outsource and we didn't work with experts very often. I would say the only exceptions to this was I hired some coaches for my own coaching, training, and growth because I wanted to get better. We've hired accountants and lawyers, obviously, and health experts. But really, a lot of other things we've done on our own, like bookkeeping, house cleaning, banking, even childcare. We did a lot of childcare on our own. And when we did it alone, this held us back. This for sure stalled us, both not being willing to outsource and trying to learn and do everything ourselves. When we did it alone, we got from 9 doors, we got, multi-million-dollar net worth for sure. That was great, but it was actually limiting us. Like we were burnt out. We could see others around us growing their portfolios faster. And we were like, what the heck is going on? I know that we're just as capable. We're just as smart. We've got the same, resources. So what's happening? This is what helped me understand that we were still trying to do things alone, and this was holding us back. So this year, we've really changed our approach, and it's making a massive difference. Number one, we started getting more help. We started outsourcing. We do this I have an assistant. I have support on getting this podcast out. Thank you so much. Shout out to Ashley, who is probably listening to this right now. I also get pre-made meals done when Troy's away. We have some solid childcare finally. And I'm starting to get help around the house too. So this has been some massive shifts. And like I said, I think it was smart for us to be prudent with our money, to save, to pay down our debt in the beginning. But now we need to leverage our time, and our time is so valuable that if we continue to try and do all these things, we were just so burnt out that we didn't even have time to look for more opportunities or more deals or grow our business or grow ourselves. So now We are learning from experts because we know that the next level means we have to change our thinking. We've invested in a real estate mentor. We're working with an investor-focused broker who's helped us already see how we can go from 22 to probably 70 doors-ish in the near future, and then keep going from there. So like literally just in the last few months of us shifting this, we've exploded the possibility of what we can create. We've started looking and understanding that we're buying businesses. We've been learning about commercial financing and reframing our mind and our comfort around debt. We'll talk about that on a whole other episode about the mindset there. But really, it was what we had to do to get to the next level. And I say this for you too. We had to stop seeing help as an expense and start seeing it as an investment. We had to stop seeing experts as an expense and start seeing them as an investment. We had to get help because even though we could do something, even though we could watch our daughter all the time, and even though we could clean and cook our house all the time, doesn't mean that we should. And same thing with experts. Just because we can learn something, if it's going to take us months or years, it is so worth the money to cut our time frame down and get results now. I want to be super transparent with you guys. This has been a journey for us. Saving and working hard and doing it like this got us to become multimillionaires at a really young age. It got us the start to our rental empire. It has helped us purchase a penthouse in one of the most expensive cities in the world, in Vancouver. There were lots of great things about this. And as you're listening to this, I hope you're also reflecting and realize that your success got you this far. So you're doing a lot of things right. But if you're like us and you have bigger ambitions, you've plateaued, know this, that to get something different, it's going to require you to do something different. And I want you to think about how can you stop doing it alone? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Who else can help you? How can you outsource and get support? And what experts can help you shorten your timeline, condense the timeline, and support you in making progress faster? All right, so that's real talk there. Those are the things that we are literally living, experiencing, moving through. I hope that helps. Number 3 thing, this one might surprise you. You got a lot of natural talent. Or maybe you worked really hard in the beginning of your career and it's paying you dividends. Like you figured it out, you're good. And what happens when you have this natural talent or you worked really hard and you hit a certain level, you're not used to it being hard. You're not used to things being a struggle. And what I found happens is that when this happens, you think that it's you. When things get hard, you think it's a problem with you. You're not smart enough. You don't think it's meant for you. You can't figure it out. It doesn't come naturally. You're not that kind of person. This comes down a lot to the difference between a fixed and a growth mindset. And this awesome book, Carol Dweck's Mindset, link in the show notes for you guys, is a great book on this. A fixed mindset basically means like that you're born, you believe that you're born with a certain innate talent or belief or knowledge, and that's as far as you can expand. Whereas a growth mindset is the belief that you can learn or figure anything out. You need to get and make sure that you're in a growth mindset. And you may have been maybe when you first started, but perhaps as you've evolved, as you've gotten better in your job, that's shifted. Or maybe you have a growth mindset in one part of your life and not in the other where you're trying to create change. Maybe you have a growth mindset when it comes to your business, but when it comes to your health, you keep telling yourself, I'm not a runner, I'm not that healthy girl, I can't drink green smoothies, whatever that is. So you need to look and really get honest with yourself about what happens when things are getting hard. What do you tell yourself about it? Are you telling yourself that it's because of you, that it's not meant for you, it doesn't come naturally, you're not that kind of person, you can't do it? Or are you telling yourself that you can learn anything, that you can figure this out, that you can find a way to make it happen? Maybe you've probably known this before, but it's worth revisiting this and really checking in, because as we become more successful, sometimes we end up giving ourselves that credit to ourselves. Well, I was just talented, or I worked hard and this is as far as I can go. But it's really important to continue to approach whatever your goal is, in as many areas of your life as you can, with a growth mindset, and continue to check in on this. All right, so that actually ties into number 4, which is the number 4 reason why I find a lot of times your success might actually be limiting you, which is that you've forgotten what it's like to not know. You're not used anymore to pulling up your hand and saying, wait, what does that mean? And you're not used to sucking anymore. I don't know why this happens when we get older, and I'm trying to change this with my daughter. it's so great because as kids, we all know that we don't know anything, and it's totally okay. There's, man, this just came up to me, so I don't have the actual research on this, but there's incredible studies that show that if you ask, kids at the age of 5, how many are great artists, they all put up their hands. Or you ask them if they have a question, they all put up their hands. And by the time you ask 10 or 15-year-olds this question, almost no one puts up their hands. No one wants to put up their hand and say they're good at something, and no one wants to ask questions. So I don't know what happens in there. I want to change it. If you got any ideas, let me know. This is one of the things that I'm on a mission to change for my daughter and her generation and to overcome in us. But let me go back here. I kind of went off on a tangent, but I thought this is what I'm saying. As kids, we don't know what we don't know, and it's totally okay. Like, we never look at walking and think, oh man, like, I don't know how to do that. I'll never do it. We just do it. And when we get up and we fall down, we just keep going. If we did that as adults, we would never learn to walk. As kids, it's so easy, right? But every adult that I talk to, consciously or unconsciously, has grown up, and this has changed on some level. The more older we get, the more successful we get, the more we get used to praise of doing good things, or we get used to the comfort of knowing, or we get shy about saying, this is what I'm good at. Like, we just change this. The expectation becomes that we already know the answer. We don't want to be the one that looks like an idiot putting up our hand in class or in a meeting or asking for help. But to be the best, or to improve in any part, to reach the next level, you have to get back to being willing to learn and to fail and to fall down and to ask a heck of a lot of questions, because if you don't, you will never get better. And this is where I want to invite you to go with a beginner mindset again. That when somebody asks, do you have questions? Who got a question? That you're the first one to put your hand up. That you get ready to suck again. That you are willing to ask for help, because that is what it's going to take for you to truly overcome this plateau and get moving. And like I said, you're going to notice a lot of references to mindset. So remember, great book, Carol Dweck's Mindset, link in the show notes. It's so good. All right, number 5, one of the reasons you may be stuck is that you still have old paradigms and ways of being, and they're just not going to cut it for the next level. What got you here won't get you there, right? You fundamentally have to change. And I'll share with you a few stories on this, but let me give you a really, a good example here. Let's go back to our money and our real estate and all of that. So in the beginning, our goal was financial stability or financial security. To do that, we had to think about saving money more, making money more, and even just to get to that. So before that, I was really in debt. To go from that point of being in debt to becoming to get financial security, I had to stop doing a lot of things and start doing others. I had to stop buying so much clothes. I had to start saving consciously. I had to take on a second job for a while. I had to stop traveling when I couldn't afford it. And the truth was, I couldn't at that point. I had to start paying down my debt. I had to stop buying things before I had the money. What I did is I'd never done this before. I actually made myself say, okay, I'm not going to do, and my motivation for this was laser eye surgery. I want to do this, but I'm not going to do it until I've paid off my debt and I can pay this in cash. So those were all things that I had to change to going from, young 20-something who was in debt to becoming somebody who could afford my laser eye surgery. And to become financially stable, I continued doing those things. I would say we're pretty financially stable and secure, like we feel good. And now our next level that we've been looking at for the last little bit has been financial freedom, which is for us, and everyone's got their own definition, is how can we not have to work all the time? How can we make the choices? And we still love working. I love what I do. I will probably do this forever. But how can we give ourselves freedom so that if we lose our jobs, that we still have some safety? If we can do what we love to do, we can spend time with our family. And let me tell you, the things that got us to financial security are not going to take us to the next level, because financial freedom, now we have to get really creative. Now we have to think differently. We are still figuring this out because our default has been always just like saving and asking for some raises, but that's just not enough. What it took to get to that first rental property is different than what it's now taken to go from 9 to 22 this year, because now we've had to look at getting more comfortable with debt, getting comfortable paying commercial financing, commercial inspections, multifamily, all these things is a whole new ballgame. And I think I want to say that because it's everything from your way of thinking, being, behaving, all of that needs to change.